Really easy. There you go. Wow. Beautiful. You okay? You did great.
That felt good.
You did great. Tilt left.
Okay. It does click.
That was loud. Good job.
So there's like, what do we say, gentle comfort, massage for the purpose of making people like feel good, and then there's me. Even running, unless you're on Baywatch, unless you're,
Wake up in the morning, I have to do the twist. And
Uh-huh.
I feel the crack, but
Yes.
I feel like I want to twist more because something isn't twisted yet,
Right.
And the knee is only when I would go like this, then I feel like it's a pain in here, but it's not when I'm walking or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just when I'm,
So let me address that lower back first. The reason, there's two things that you can feel in your spine. One, the joint. You can feel the knuckles in your back, and that's when somebody says they have back pain, they're most likely pointing to the actual joints. The joints are like our fingers. There's two vertebrae. When they connect, there's a synovial joint capsule. This model doesn't show the ligaments and rubber bands that hold that together. When you overstress a joint, the joint will swell. And then in the swollen joint, there's a lot of nerves, and there's also air bubbles that diffuse from our bloodstream, carbon dioxide. And that's what you hear is the click, is the release of the pressure that the air bubble. And so when you're rotating, get the idea, you're compressing one side and you're opening the other side when you rotate your spine. And when you're cavitating or clicking, when you rotate and you feel like you need that release in your back, you're releasing some of the air bubbles in those swollen joints, which give you some relief to the pressure you're feeling. The difficulty with that is every time you do that, you're further loosening the area, which makes it swell up more, which makes you feel the need to pop it again. And then I feel like half the day I have to spend constantly having this itch that I have to scratch in my back. And why is that happening? It's happening because all the other areas around aren't working properly to direct all the stress into one area that's then causing it to feel swollen. And so how can you help me, Doctor? We're going to move the pressure away from that one area that you're feeling the need to click, so that you won't actually, two things. One, you won't be able to do it, and you won't feel the need to do it. That's the goal of my treatment. And I no longer feel the desire to even do that anymore because I don't feel that tension and pressure that makes me want to release it. The difficult thing also, long term, if you keep doing that for an extended period of time, clicking that one joint, the joint will grow. So we call that hypertrophy. It's called medically osteoarthritis. The bone will actually get larger. And so when the bone grows, little spurs grow into the hole where the nerve goes through, and you start hitting the nerve, and that's what then causes leg pain and sciatica. So it's like if you only chewed on one tooth, that one tooth would get worn out. So we want to make sure that you're chewing with all the teeth, that all the vertebrae are moving as a team. And so it's a little bit opposite. I'm going to focus on areas that aren't typically the ones that you notice, perhaps. And you go, Ed, it's here, Ed, that's where the pressure is. I know it's there, but the problem that's the compensatory problem. The real problem is somewhere up here or below in the glute that's tight, that allows you to overstress that. Kind of in here.
yeah.
When you bend it, you feel it right in there.
Not like, when I'm sitting, but if I would go on my knees
Sure.
and sit with my children, then I would feel like this, like there's something there, like bubble or
Right.
something.
You need to be able to, we'll show you the stretch in a second. You need to be able to open that meniscus up. The knee is kind of a unidimensional joint, just bends, and that allows blood to get in there to rehydrate it and nourish the joint. You said you ran for quite a decade or longer?
No, not that long, maybe 2 years
Okay.
or 3 years, but it wasn't like compulsive,
Okay.
you.
So we're just gonna, like I said, we'll work on your knees a little bit. There's some things we can show you to open up the knee, and then we'll get that back. Any headaches or any other symptoms?
Oh yeah, actually, thank you for reminding me. I've noticed that side of my neck isn't as mobile as this one.
So you turn your head right easily, and left.
And this one is like, you can feel that there's something stopping there.
Yeah, we'll fix that.
Yeah, and then very interestingly, when you said about the need of cracking, and
Yes.
like when you start doing it more often, and you actually sometimes feel like you need to do it like throughout of the day. And I actually just noticed that it has changed. I was at the gym and suddenly I'm like doing this and I'm like, this is so weird. This is the first time I'm doing this outside of my, home.
It
Because
will grow larger. It will. It's like a mosquito bite. The more you itch it, the more it itches, and then and then you're actually hurting yourself because you're itching it so much that now you're kind of damaging it.
And I don't know if that somehow is related, but what I've noticed that when I'm standing, it's the most comfortable for me. It's just like going, and I don't know if this is from like being a mother and holding the babies all the time and rocking, but I've noticed that after standing without moving for more than like an hour, I would feel pain in the back. I'm seeking, and I'm seeking to sit all the time.
Right.
At subconscious level.
You're young enough now that you don't have it, so it hurts. Your body's seeking antalgia. You're having to seek a position of comfort, and then you're okay. And then you do that for a decade. Eventually, there's no place that's comfortable. And now I'm just in pain all the time. And so we're on the preventative side here. Let's not let it get to a place where now I'm just hurting no matter what position I'm in. When you unlock something that hasn't been moving, it doesn't exactly always feel great. So there's a process of, getting used to having parts of your back that aren't working, moving again. And then the areas that are overstressed, like I said earlier, two ways. One, you won't feel the need to do that, and you won't be able to. See, if your whole spine's working as a team, nothing's going to click. Because the only way you can do with that, only way you can cavitate one area is because these areas are locked and you can isolate one vertebrae. Do you understand?
Yeah.
It's because there's a mechanical problem that allows you to pop your own spine. Manipulation implies let's move everything, right? We're not trying to move every vertebrae. See, if there's an imbalance in your spine and I loosen what's loose and I loosen what's stiff, the disparity doesn't change, right? We're trying to bring your spine into balance. Cross your arms for me. Okay. Bend both the knees. Bend. Yeah, perfect. You got it. Little sit up for me. Take a deep breath in for me. Then head back. Exhale. Let all the air out. Let it go. I got you. Deep breath in for me. Then head back for me. Exhale. Let it go. Deep breath in. I know, a little tight there. Yep. Exhale. Chin down. There we go. There we go. Very nice. Very nice. You okay? Yeah.
Yes, I am okay.
You did great. So we're going to arch your lower back. So arch. Perfect. Put your hands around your belly. Take a deep breath in for me. Exhale for me. Exhale. It's okay. There we go. Yeah, you're a little restricted up there. Deep breath in. Exhale. All right. Let's exhale. There we go. All right, breathe. Exhale. Let's go fix that for me. Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, there's a huge lump right here. There's an injury. See, the right side's actually smaller than the whole left side. That's why you're having difficulty. When you turn your head left, this has to go in, and it's swollen. There's an old injury on your left side here. Yeah, right there. Do you like to sleep on your right side? Are you on your right side so when you're sleeping?
Where do I sleep? Let me think about it. Yes, this one.
I know, yeah. It's okay. Because your head doesn't want to tilt left. My point is that your neck favors tilting to the right. Eventually you'd wear out the lower neck on the right shoulder blade, right arm would be overstressed because you're in left avoidance. Something happened on the left upper part of your neck up here that made your head what we call antalgia. Anta means away from, algia means pain. So antalgically your head just kind of tilted to the right to get away from it. And if we don't untilt that, you're going to wear out the other side. That's what we call a compensatory pain. So the right side will then start to hurt because it's really just doing double while your left side's the cause. But yeah, right here.
Right there.
Yes, ma'am. Yep. It's a blockade. They found within 10 days of a joint not moving that plaque crystals start to form in a joint that doesn't move. It doesn't take long for adhesions. The principle of frozen shoulder can be applied to any joint in your body. When there's an injury, when the joint doesn't move, it starts to lock itself up. And that's what's happened up here. This joint is supposed to be one of the loosest joints in your spine, but because it was the loosest joint when you're young, that's where the injury occurred, and as a result, we walked it off and it healed stiff. And now we got to bring it back online, and it's okay. We'll go get it. Okay. All right, there we go.
So what's the moral? That we have to move all the time?
Well, we want to move with our whole spine. What happens is, and it's not something I can train you. I can't like teach people to bend and utilize their whole spine. Their whole spine just has to want to work. So the take home would be to check children to make sure the whole spine's working. When you have an injury, you don't just heal in avoidance or heal stiff, even though that might be more comfortable. See, my father's a chiropractor, and well, first of all, when I rollerbladed, I had a pillow strapped to my butt, right? I wasn't allowed to be on a football team. I wasn't allowed to, my dad saw a slide tackle in soccer. It was the last day I played soccer, right? I swam in a swimming pool for 7 years. So my point is that when an injury does occur, you get treatment soon, right? We don't want people to heal stiff and heal in avoidance.
Can't put together the fact that we were not meant to sit 14
Absolutely.
hours, and like we were, when you go back to the beginning, we were walking through the garden.
That's right. Yeah, we've strayed from where we're
Fruits
supposed to be.
from it, yeah.
Yeah, we're far from where. We really haven't, as a human race, ever sat as much as we've sat in the last 120 years.
Yeah.
So the industrial age, the information age.
I've also noticed that what we did as a humanity, we sit for a very long time, and then we go to the gym,
Sit
and
warm.
then, but then we will like stress our body for only 45 minutes to the point, with the weights or whatever you're
Right.
doing, to the point that like I almost feel like this 45 minutes should be actually spread throughout of the day. And then the certain gentleness comes to the movement as well, because when you go to the gym and you start, carrying 30 pounds or 100 pounds or whatever we're doing there, over a very short period of the time, I almost feel like something unnatural there.
You're stiff from all the sitting, and now with the bad alignment and the stiffness, now you're going to go try to exercise, but you're already not in a great place to even exercise.
Yeah.
The mobility of your spine is poor. Sitting, not moving the joints,
But then we also want to just factor this or fit it in 45 minutes, and it's just like, maybe we should just like have this spread it throughout of the day, and then we wouldn't have injuries like that,
Real gentle here. Real gentle. I got your head. Really easy. There you go. Wow. Beautiful. You okay? You did
That
great.
felt good.
You did great. Real easy. There you go. There you go.
That was loud to me,
It's loud out here
but
too.
I wanted it to flex for so many years, I think.
Oh, doing good. Yeah, we just gotta start. We'll show you this device called a Denerol. It's a retainer similar to an orthodontist uses to prevent your teeth from going back where they were. We use a retainer to emulate my hand, and it holds you in this curved position. And we'll show you this at the end of the visit. We'll actually have you back and to the left a little bit because we're going to want a little more pressure on that left side to level the neck, level the imbalance, and then after about a month, you'll probably be able to just keep your head straight on it. But for the first month, probably just a little bit to the left to get a little bit more pressure on the left side. I know the side that's a little more restricted. The area that's tight in here will actually cut off its own circulation because of the stiffness. It chokes the tissue a little bit. So as we get blood flow into this area, what's been trapped in the area start to get released. When we're young, the fascia is flexible. Do you understand? Now when we have an injury, it heals like that. And now we don't have the flexibility that the original tissue had. So it's injury and damage to the fascia which creates tangles that then need to be, do you understand? Like combing your hair. The hair is supposed to be combed. You should be able to run your comb through the hair and it just glides effortlessly, right? If you run your comb through your hair and it's getting stuck, that's the problem, right? So the fascia is normal, but it's not supposed to be knotted up
Yeah, that makes
and
sense.
glued, and then you feel a bump. There shouldn't be that. And the way we feed it and it grows is that we avoid it. That's why I asked you earlier, do you sleep on your right side? Yes, you sleeping on your right side grows this. You understand? I call it feeding the monsters, my dad would say. We need to actually go into it. We need to actually get you over to the left. Confrontation to the monster, not avoidance. So there's an injury here. This either was a childhood injury or who knows. But right here on the left side there was a injury on that knuckle.
You know what? Now that you're saying, and I think when I was filling in your form, I said that I only had a C-section, but I actually got hit by the car. I forgot about this.
How many years ago?
I was 4,
Wow.
and they broke my collar, right one though, I think.
Okay.
But I don't remember anything.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is a formative injury. When you were still soft, the clay got hit, right? So the pot, when it was soft, can be more misshapen than when it was hard. And then your body grew as in a compensatory fashion from that injury.
So how old is the chiropractor?
8, when it started, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, like
Yeah, good
how
question.
many years ago?
So 1895 is when chiropractic started. D.D. Palmer started it. Back before that was Andrew Still, about the 1860s. Andrew Still started osteopathy. So about 30 years before chiropractic, there was osteopaths. And they used the word manipulation. It was kind of just a global adjustment. They believed that disease came from poor circulation. So blood flow was cut off, and that's what caused disease. D.D. Palmer was novel was a couple things. One, that it's the nervous system that controls the circulation. So it's not so much that it is perhaps that the circulation is cut off, but it's because the nerve is impinged in the spinal column. There's a subluxation, nerve irritation. The nerves control the bloodstream. So that was what was sort of novel about chiropractic, along with the idea of adjusting the spine, meaning not trying to move everything, but trying to focus force into certain areas so we balance the spine. And that was where it kind of branched off a little bit between Andrew Still starting osteopathy and then D.D. Palmer doing chiropractic. So about 128 years, I guess. Scar, just
Which one? Oh, I fell down and
just cutting your
my
knee.
dad just pull out the piece of glass. This is when you grew up in Poland, you know.
Aw, yeah.
He pull out the piece of glass, he pour over the hydroperoxide, and he's like, "You're fine."
You're fine. Ha!
Yep.
Walk it off, kid.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's
gotcha.
how I grew up.
Okay.
You know?
Well, so the vastus medialis, this muscle right here, is the most responsible muscle, in my opinion, for choking the knee. The tighter this muscle gets, the more the knee is in a vice grip. So all these muscles attach below the knee on the tibia. So the tighter these muscles get, do you see how it creates a vice grip? And it chokes the meniscus, and that allows a lot of inflammation,
And it
soreness.
feels horrible when you're
Yes,
doing it.
I know. This tightness here is also what you can treat yourself through the knee stretch I showed you earlier, where you're trying to sit your butt under your heel. The primary purpose of that is to lengthen this out, to allow the knee to breathe better. The tighter this quad gets. Now also what happens is, you understand, as your body goes forward, if you put your hands on your quads right now, everybody at home, when you're standing, right, now put your body forward. If I go forward, my quad just contracted. Do you understand? So you have a back problem that goes away by going forward. Now my quads are tight, now my knees are killing me. Do you understand? Because the tighter the quad gets, the more you choke the knee. And so quad tightness can happen because our body's trying to get away from a back problem. And then that also drops the arch in the foot and can cause plantar fasciitis and shin splints and all these. This area here will get tight. Ooh.
Nice.
All right. Let's do it. Let's have you sit for me. Let's try it now. All right, go ahead and tilt your head to the right. Tilt right. Tilt your head to the right.
Wait, which one is right? This one? Okay, okay. I was just.
Wait a second. So you're just
Which
gonna
one is right?
you're just gonna tilt your head to the right.
I have a problem. I wasn't born
Keep-
here. I have to
No,
think about.
it's
No,
okay.
actually, I have always problems.
Just keep your head straight now. Keep your head straight. I'll tell you when to tilt.
Okay.
Okay. Go ahead and tilt your head to the right. Tilt, tilt, tilt. A little bit. Yep.
Straight.
Yep. Keep head straight and now tilt.
It does.
That one I heard. That's awesome.
It does click.
Yeah. It does click.
Keep head straight 1 second. Tilt head left. A little bit. Go ahead and
Straight.
tilt left.
Okay. It does click.
That was loud. Good job.
So there's like, what do you say, gentle comfort, massage for the purpose of making people like feel good, and then there's me, and which is we're trying to actually unlock parts of your back that are frozen. So mechanically, right here, this area is underworking, and that's what's contributing to why your lower back is overstressed. So in order to, you can't reshape hard clay. We have to make your back supple so that we can reshape it. But yeah, right here. This is why the lower back gets overstressed, is this gets too tight right in here.
So what about the desk that we're standing next to, like the work desk, office desk?
A standing desk is much better. Yeah, I mean, I think the ideal thing is, I'll show you in a minute how to sit backwards on a chair with some arch in your back. I think, kind of a backward chair sitting is the best way to do it. But standing desks are fine. I mean, it's assuming that we're upright. We can still stand forwardly rotated too, but be upright as best you can. Having a variety is also a good thing, just not sitting in one position all the time. People get kind of lazy and get stuck in one position, and you just kind of just stay there, and it's like, move around. Don't, be forced into one position all the time.
It always hurts there. It's like, I don't know if it hurts, but there's like tension.
Tension, yeah.
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 When did you become passionate about this?
Well, I learned to adjust when I was a kid. I was 13 when I learned how to move a bone. I mean, my dad was, he had me adjusting him, and I didn't really think about being a chiropractor until I was in undergrad and doing physiology, anatomy, and finding a lot of fascination in it, and that's kind of what then drew me to it, and my dad was begging for help, and
Yeah.
so, and then just seeing how rewarding it is to change people's lives is it's so cool. You take people that, I had a patient, was a friend of a patient was at my church the other day, and he came up to me and he was talking to a patient that's out of town now, but, he's been a believer, but he was like, that patient was talking to him, it's like, Dr. Ed and Bo have changed my life. I can play golf now, I can do things that I haven't been able to do in years, and, those stories are what really just, keep you going.
Yeah.
Just change people's lives. Like, I couldn't do these things, and now I can do them. Not only can I do them, but I can do them without hurting, and I now understand how to care for my spine.
How does that feel? Is
That feels good, yeah. Great. It's getting hot.
Yes.
Yes.
How would I say that? I love that, there is a medical treatment for all the things or most of the things that, like I love the fact that I can go to the dentist and get the numbing when I fix my teeth. So I really feel that we're blessed by that.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that our medical system is very inventionist. I don't know how to say that in English, but it's just I feel like maybe we're cutting and chopping too fast things.
Mm-hmm. We should start with conservative care, and then we will say, do all our options, exhaust all other options, and then we go to more invasive care, and not begin with the most invasive thing.
Yeah. Because, like when you look at the body, like you said, it's just so miraculously put together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made to support each other, even when you were explaining the spine itself.
Mm-hmm. You're doing good right here. A little bit of blockage right here. Doing good. Tell she's.
When you go into the lower back,
That's
it's
where it
like-
hurts. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just overstressed. We got to get this area moving better up here. It's just like a sprained ankle. You've been utilizing your lower back way too much, and this is underutilized. And it will get better by being left alone. But in order for it to be left alone, we have to take the burden and move it to another area. And I'll show you how we can retain that in a second. We're going to stretch. When we're on your side, this is what we were trying to adjust. We're trying to adjust the sacroiliac joint, this joint between the sacrum and ilium. You've had two natural labors, two natural births?
The first one was C-section.
First one was C-section.
Mhm.
So the second one wasn't. Like I said, this joint gets traumatized when you birth naturally, and so it as a result of giving birth naturally, this joint will want to quit, and so it's vital that we don't let this joint, stay stiff. As a result of giving birth naturally, it'll want to tighten up on you. But that's when you're on your side. I was trying to adjust that joint. If I recall, this one moved well. The right one was definitely stiffer. This one was, right, this one's a little more tight over here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the side that moves won't mind me rubbing. It's the side that's stiff that'll mind more that I'm asking it to function.
Okay, that's funny.
Is that too much?
No, it's just like, it's between a pain and
Tickle.
a tickle.
Tickle.
And it's just this, you know.
Oh.
Gotcha. Good. Mhm. Thanks. I got you. Breathe. Keep the knees bent for me. Yeah, there we go. Good. Put your arms up here. Yeah, arms on the side. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know if I can lay down like that.
Give me time is more important than depth. So I don't mind putting books behind your head to reduce the depth of the stretch because time is more valuable. We need to, whatever position you're in for the most amount of time is where your body wants to reside. We have to counter stretch you. Not many things in life have required you to arch back. Everything in life, from car riding to working at a desk, is bending you forward, right? So why would we expect bending back to be easy? We've never done it. So we need to start introducing, for the sake of those discs, that's why we hear of disc herniations and disc injury, because the discs are non-sensitive, they're on the front, and they're compressed when we're sitting all the time. So we need to decompress the discs, arch back, allow nutrients and rehydrate the discs. We call this mirror image stretching. We're asking your spine to go to the opposite of where you've been, and then holding you there. 20 minutes is a real number for actually stretching the fabric. The ligaments on the front have to be stretched so that when you come upright, they're not so tight that they pull you back forward. You get to stretch the front, so when you come upright now, you'll just want to be upright and you'll want to have good posture, not through muscular contraction. There are people that are teaching that you need to strengthen your back muscles to pull you upright. I don't agree with that. How can we depend on a fatigable structure like a muscle to hold us in the right posture? I want you to have good posture, and that's where you want to be.
I was just going to mention that I feel stretch here.
Correct. Yes. Good. Yeah, it's
and
good.
then you just said that.
That all has to open up,
Makes sense.
and might be sore, because one of the things that'll happen is the ribs will start to actually come up onto the sternum. You let people have these bumps along the ribs here because their ribs are jammed on their sternum.
Oh, it's better.
I know. I made it look so easy. You, Dr. Ed, made it look so easy on you.
So you see, the first thing that I want to do is just
Flatten it out. I know.
to press it back on.
But do you see when I'm on my back? Oh, look. When my legs are straight, do you see?
Yeah.
My back doesn't. This doesn't feel natural.
Yeah, that's what my back wants to do immediately. Like, I just want to go back to
flatten it out.
To flatten it out, and actually
Pull your knees
I
up.
want to
I know.
my knees back too.
I know, but that's all. You can do that for another 5 years, and then the discs will be done. Do you understand? It's a dead end road. I want you to have. This device is not meant to be used seated, but it can be used seated to remind your spine to be curved. You're not allowed to sit unsupported, all hunched forward. Remember I showed you on the model, there's two things that have feeling. You have the joint, that's why you want to pull your spine, because it takes the weight off the joint. Do you see that? The joint's decompressed when you bend forward, and also the hole that the nerve goes through gets bigger. And so you can do that until the discs are ruptured out, until the discs are done.
This is a disc?
That's the disc. This is showing an injured disc.
Yeah.
So if you have all the weight on the disc for 30, 40 years, they start to herniate. Part of what can be difficult is if we're sitting bent forward, in order to stand upright, the joints have to compress. Does that make sense? That's what people hurt, right? They're fine when they're sitting, and they go to stand up, it's like, Does that make sense? They have to, because it's hard to stand up, because now you have to load weight onto the joints. By keeping this behind your back, the weight's still on the joint. Does that make sense? Then you go to stand up, it's going to be easy, because you weren't so forward, and there isn't this big jump to make to get back to upright. So interweaving this in your life, interweaving not every moment that you're sitting, but start, do it for 20 minutes, take it out for 20 minutes, start bringing it into your life. And then your range, you could, it's anywhere in the middle back. You don't have to have it just in that spot. Sitting locks your chest, and like I said, even running, unless you're on Baywatch, unless you're, everybody runs.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
There's not much chest movement here. My chest is stiff, right? So you want your hips to move and your arms to move, but your chest squats, right? Your chest is locked. Bench pressing, bicep curls, my chest is not moving. So you're encouraging chest rigidity. And that's okay, but you better be on a Denerol too, right? This encourages chest mobility. It's called a Denerol.
It sounds like dinner roll, but it's dinner roll. It's like an
It encourages spinal flexibility and the right alignment. So those two components are what are going to improve your spinal health. The pain is that's the only part of your back that works. The pain is coming from this part is overstressed because the curve is gone. So I've got your middle back moving and we're trying to get you back upright. But again, being upright, you feel more. And I feel like it would feel better if I just rounded forward. And it would. And that's the difficult thing right now, is that a lot of where I'm pointing you to makes you feel more. But as your body re-equilibrates to being upright, you'll actually feel good here. All right, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you, doctor.